Well, gentlemen, as a statement, we did. I don't know what to say if we came out too tight, or if we're still hung over from 2 close losses. But I'm very disappointed in the way we did come out. I did think we played a good basketball team tonight, who's been a little bit on their heels because of the loss of their probably best player, and they had to adjust. They seem to have adjusted well. They beat us pretty good tonight. They beat Georgia State pretty good on Saturday. So I'm impressed with 2 wins on the road like that. But we I don't know what to say to the players other than saying, we got to have to run a better offense and get some layups because we're not hitting shots. I don't know what else to say. We are not hitting shots. Our guards tonight were, if I was looking at it, I want to say 2 for 21, 2 for 23, or is it 3 for 23? 3 for 23.
Not good.
No. And, Monty Gant's 2 for 7. I know they're sagging in on him, but like I told him, I said, you're a preseason first team all conference. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Do you want to see him take more shots in those 7?
First of all, I want to see him run his tail end down to that court and post up it closer to the basket instead of getting edging out about 12 feet, 13 feet away. Then he has to put it on the floor a dribble or 2. That's been being said for a long time to him. If he can really post up close to the basket, he doesn't need a dribble. Believe me, it's been told to him. It's frustrating. But, yes, Imani is a good offensive player. We need him to get some touches.
Are they just missing open shots? Or are they not taking any good looks? Or what do you?
At times, like O.J. Black, first of all, in defense of O.J., he was throwing up today. Early in the morning, he was throwing up. He was feeling better after our trainer gave him some medicine for nausea. But, even he turned down. I said, if they're not going to guard you and you're 18 feet from the basket, you got to shoot it. Or else I got to take you out. One of the two. So, he shot it 7 times, and for him, that's a lot of shots. So, but I could say we got out-rebounded, but when we miss that many shots, they're going to out-rebound us, guys. I'm not sure I can. I think there was a few times where I got frustrated with the fact that they were out, I think, putting more effort into it than we did. But many times we get out-rebounded, I look at it, and like it's 11-11 on the offensive boards, but I look at defensive rebounds, and that's where the difference is. We're missing shots, they're rebounding it.
Coach, a couple weeks ago when you were here and you lost the overtime game and you won a game here, it looked like you had a little momentum, and now it's just completely disappeared. You knew that you had to win probably 2 of the 4 on the road to keep that momentum. You didn't get it. Come back, you look flat out there tonight. These kids seems like is there a sense of urgency about them to get this fixed? Or obviously there's a sense of urgency in you. I see that from the start.
I don't know. We need some leadership on this team, and we need some leadership on this team to take over. I've read all of Coach Krzyzewski's books, and one of the things I've always taken away from it is, without internal leadership, a team cannot be successful. And you know what I mean by that. Mm-hmm. There's got to be some leadership from inside that locker room. And I'm not going into names, but we had one player that did not play well against Georgia Southern, and he says he's been in a funk ever since. Traveling home on Sunday, yesterday's practice, I didn't think he played well today, and I told him, I said, if you're going to dwell on that, I'm pulling you. Your minutes are being cut, and he didn't perform tonight. So, I'm appreciative of him, of the fact that he's bothered that he did not perform well in a very close loss we had, but nevertheless, we got to let it go and move on. We can't dwell on things like that. There's an example.
A game like tonight's, you're on national TV. This is a game that you were really brought here to win. This is a game that's a program changer.
Right.
It's an attitude changer about the team.
That was all talked about too. This is why, when you get these opportunities, you graduate from high school, you want to play on national TV on ESPN. Talked about yesterday at practice, talked about today at shoot around. You got to come. You got to come ready to play.
0 points from Ethan Montalvo.
That's a big one right there. You know that. I don't have to say that. I mean, that's – look, Ethan and Imani, there's 4 players on this team that have to give us points. And if we get good production out of 3 of them, we're usually in good shape. And those are, Ethan, Imani, Caven, Cam Naylor. We got to get through production out of 3 of those guys.
My esteemed colleague to my right made a mention that he thought you needed to win 4 of these last 9 to get into the tournament.
We won 7 last year and sneaked in.
Right.
And right now we've got to realize that they work the ball better than we did on offense.
No doubt.
I'm the first to admit that. That's why you saw a lot of key players sitting. So I'm not going to look at that. You're going to try to work the ball instead of going one-on-one. If you think that we're going to let you just go one-on-one after a pass or 2, you're sadly mistaken. On the other hand, some of those players are some of my more naturally talented players. So we did cut a 21 or 2-point lead into 12, and we did it with a lot of subs against maybe some of their subs, but I did see some starters or some key players for them out there until the 3-minute mark. But I think the last, I'm going to say 12, 13 minutes, you saw a lot of kids that normally don't play a lot. I got to the point where I was frustrated and said, sit down, guys. You're not doing it the way we taught you. Let these guys play. Unfortunately, it was on natural TV. But however, they cut a deficit almost in half by 40%. So I'm proud of them. I mean, at some point, we got to have some key kids understand that it's about execution, defense, execution on offense. It's not about you shooting shots.
Coach, if you lose by 5 or you lose by 25, it doesn't really make any difference in the win and loss column, obviously. The effort is fine. I agree with that. The kids came back, played hard in the second half to make it a game. But there was no doubt about how this game was going from the first half.
There's no what now?
There was no doubt about how this game was going. You guys scored 16 points in the first
Oh,
half.
yeah.
Can't do that.
At the end of the game, against Georgia Southern and Georgia State, we gave great effort. Georgia Southern has been winning virtually all their games in the last 2-3 weeks at home. I think with the exception of Louisiana Lafayette. They've been beating everybody.
Right.
Until UTA beat Georgia State, the only 2 teams to beat Georgia State like in the last 3 years was us and Louisiana Lafayette. So what I told him after both games is, look, I appreciate your effort. I'm going to tell you one thing. We have to make shots. We got to make shots out of the offense. Obviously, if the shot clock's down to 4 or 5, somebody's got to go.
Right.
We know that.
You were saying that dwelling on the past loss kind of affected them tonight.
I don't know. I really don't know, Coach. I really don't know if it's – we are somewhat fatigued. I want to get that. But so is UT Arlington. That's what I'm telling you. UT Arlington has been our travel partner. So if we've been on the road for 2 weeks, they have too. So we can't feel sorry for ourselves. We gotta show some toughness and resilience and come out and play. That's what happened against Georgia State in terms of resilience and toughness. Georgia State and Georgia Southern. Now we're at home, a wonderful crowd. I really appreciate the students and the fans coming out after their team has lost 4 straight. I'm very grateful to them. But we got to grow up in that. We got to grow up as a team and make it realize that if we win, more people come. If you score at 15 and we lose, they really don't care. It's that simple. They don't care what you scored. We lost.
Is that kind of the message you want to tell them for when they coming up with that?
Listen, I've been telling them that message all year long. I've been telling them that message since we got here. I said, if you want to fill this place up, these fans will come if we win. And again, based on some guys I had when I first got here who thought the game was about them, rather than about us. I've been preaching that for almost 2 years, that when you win, they'll come. Now, I'm not telling you our guys came out here and just, but what happened was we fell behind, and some people took it upon themselves to try to win the game by themselves. And that just put us further in a hole. Now, at the end of the game, I was telling them we got to strike quick. The last 8 minutes, I was saying we got to go.
Sure.
We got to attack. Now I'm ready. When you're down 20 or 22, go. But when you're starting the game, there's and then you fall behind whatever it was, 15-5 or whatever it is. Don't panic. There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time. So I'm talking about my starters. That's who I'm talking about.
You think, though, it's easy for a team when they've struggled as much as you have to panic quicker when the game doesn't go the way it's supposed to go?
We just got to we got to be more disciplined, Joe. We got to be more disciplined. And I mean, even Ethan missed some. I thought, are you telling me Ethan had some good looks? There was maybe 1 or 2 shots. I don't even know if there's more than one. I thought he rushed his first one. It was an air ball. After that, I thought all of his shots were pretty decent. For Ethan, they were decent shots. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I thought
They just didn't fall.
Yeah. And he got frustrated.
And when I saw he got frustrated, I said, get him out. His mom. And I guess that is the point I'm trying to make. When we don't shoot the ball well, we let it affect everything else. And I'm telling the players that is selfish. That is selfish thinking. Whether you want to admit it or not, you are being selfish when you're saying, well, I'm not hitting shots. Therefore, my energy level is going to drop. And I'm going to forget about defense. That's a selfish way of thinking. And it's an immature way of thinking. We don't have one guy on this team, at least this year, that has been there every game. Therefore, a system has to win with that kind of production, if that makes sense. We have to have a system in place, and they got to adhere to it if our shots are not falling and if we're getting inconsistent play from some of our, leading scorers. Now, these are good guys. I don't have any thugs on my team. I mean, we haven't had a problem off the court. We just had the best GPA, I was told by our academic guy, in the last 5 years. What I'm frustrated with is the immaturity about the game. Please listen. I'm telling you, please listen and just run the system and see what happens. And don't let your defense drop off because your shot's not falling.
Thanks, Coach.
16 of 56, 28.6%.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the score is not 85 to 53.
Free throws helped you there.
Well, at the end. And secondly, we had some defensive breakdowns, but we still are one of the better defensive teams in this league.
Yeah, they didn't shoot super great.
No, now they shot 41.
Yeah.
Our problem is offense and the willingness of our players to let's just take it we're bad. We're not a great shooting team. Then rebound and defend and rebound. And execute, and maybe let's see if we'll get some layups.